Chapter 4. Green Autumn. The young man awoke with a start. He had been dreaming again. The images blended into a menagerie of thoughts and sensations, some of them pleasant, but most of them dark and forbidding. Pouring out the cold coffee in the cup beside the couch, he poured in a double measure of brandy. Sitting down at his desk, he poised his pen above a blank sheet of paper. His computer sat dark and cold at the desk in the corner. The power had been off for a week. He wiped the sweat from his brow and began to write. Once the dream dies, nothing jumps in to take its place. Only the emptiness, the menagerie of a million hollow men crying to be set free, but forever destined to be hollow. Some were rich, some were poor, some did not know their names. I hated them all, the cab drivers, the policemen, the derelicts, the endless parade in business suits, the office girls, the old men who sat in the corner and chewed their tobacco, the lawyers, the farmers, the city girls with their faces, the country girls with their big calves, the plumbers, the bus drivers, the whores, especially the whores who would reach for your money and suck out your lifeblood. All of them had died long ago. I died along with them, maybe sooner than some, but later than most. My dwelling was not much, a place to write, a place to bring the endless one-night stands, a place to throw my dirty socks. It contained an emptiness. My whole neighborhood contained the same emptiness. The young man paused in his writing, the pen poised above the paper, and after a moment's hesitation, laid it down beside the paper. Leaning back in the chair and closing his eyes, he let his mind ramble. He could hear his heart beating, the water dripping in the bathroom, some pipes rattling downstairs, the cars driving by, one honking at a dog, another with a bumping tire, a siren in the distance, the clock on the Catholic church chiming 3 o'clock. All of these sounds blended together as he drifted off to sleep. His dreams were of a dark man with emerald blue eyes, dressed like a cowboy and wearing faded brown boots, with blood on them. The writer woke disoriented, and at first could not figure it out where he was. Lying on his left side, he could make out the corner of the table in the failing light. Then he woke completely, realized he had fallen asleep in the chair, and at some point must have moved to the couch. He looked at the battery mantel clock and saw that it was 8 p.m. He had slept for 5 hours, and then it all came back. Damn, that was some dream, he said out loud to no one. Getting up, he lit the oil lamp and cursed the electric company again because they were taking so long to get the power back on. He moved to the bar and poured a snifter half full of brandy. Moving to the desk, he sat down and read the last sentence he had written. My neighborhood contained the same emptiness. He picked up the pen and again began writing. There was Al Bronsky, who always said, "Why don't you get out of this pit and get married?" His wife had a nice ass and almost got raped one night showing it off at a party. His kids were brats. Eric was 8 and would spit on you if you looked at him wrong. Dennis was 11 and had an obsession with spilling food. Caitlin was 16, and I'm sure she was the biggest prick tease I have ever met. Al Bronsky thought he had it made. but his daughter was sleeping with every boy in town. His wife had a nice ass she liked to flaunt, and every morning he would get up and put on his three-piece suit to sell life insurance. Al Bronsky was dead and didn't even know it. There was Ginny upstairs, always in search of the perfect man. She went to school in the mornings and worked as a waitress in the East Street Bar and Grill in the evenings. After work she would entertain her endless parade of men. She had died long ago, and her men were dead. Some had always been dead. Others she had killed herself by stealing their souls and then discarding them for someone else. Ginny, 39 years old, was grasping for that last chance to be somebody before that last day when her makeup would no longer cover the lines around her eyes. There was Bill Dooley, who worked 2 jobs during the week to support his ex-wife and kids. On the weekend, he haunted the endless bars. His spirit died the day he was married, a marriage of convenience. His ex-wife, a former high school cheerleader, kept her old love letters and a senior prom picture close to her heart, a little too close. Drugs killed Paul Ricks long before he had a chance to live. Vietnam finished him off. Skipping from job to job, woman to woman, life experience to life experience, he still lived with his aging mother, who supported him between the endless changes. She had wanted him to be a doctor, but during his first semester of college he joined the army to escape a drug charge. One day in Vietnam he saw his closest friend decapitated by a chopper blade. From that moment on he was never the same. Shooting himself in the leg, he was discharged with a Purple Heart, which his mother displayed proudly and showed to her bridge club over and over. Paul Ricks never married, never held a job longer than 3 months, and sometimes at night he would wake up in a cold sweat screaming. There were many others who had died one way or another. Angela Purvis, truly the liberated woman, keeping her maiden name when she was married, a rising executive for an advertising agency. Her future was filled with promises of fortune. On her 30th birthday, she scattered her brains all over the interior of her new Porsche with their husband's gun. John Trumpet ended up in a mental institution. Robert Holden was killed in an auto accident shortly after getting his draft notice. Barbara Williamson got a job teaching handicapped children and truly never died. Janice Taylor never married and on her 25th birthday became a nun. Ben Parker died from AIDS at the age of 32. Julie Langdon got pregnant before she finished high school and was shipped away to relatives in Ohio, never to be seen again. Half of the cheerleading squad married half the football team and never moved out of town. Mr. Walters, the assistant principal, was arrested on rape charges and is still in prison. George Jameson went bankrupt. Sally Strickland sells real estate. Bill Thompson bought a nightclub in Norfolk, Virginia. Michelle Smith moved to San Francisco. The list goes on and on. The writer paused. Laying the pen down, he began to reread what he had written. Glancing at the mantel clock, he saw that it was 2 a.m. Looking at the pages he had written, he crumpled them up and threw them into the wastebasket beside the desk. Cursing the electric company, he poured himself some more brandy and took it to the end table beside the couch. Laying down, he was soon asleep. His dreams were of a dark man driving a red sports car, and there were crows, thousands of them.